Talk to me about where you grew up and what growing up was like for you.
I grew up here in Stockton, California, in a single parent household. It was just my mother. Father wasn't really around, he was in and out. Um, I have six brothers and one sister, so it was a large family. My mom was always working to provide for us, and she was always busy, didn't really have time to spend a lot of time with us. And we ended up I ended up getting involved with gangs at a young age, being that I'm one of the younger brothers and my older brothers were involved with gangs, and I didn't have someone to look up to. That was the people I had to look up to was my brothers, and they were getting involved with the gang lifestyle, and I just looked up to them. That's when I started, hanging out in the streets. I wasn't able to play sports. I wasn't able to do things like the other kids because they had fathers or whatever it was. So I ended up getting involved with gangs at a young age. Um, at age 14, I was probably the first time I've been incarcerated for a shooting. After that, I just kept getting incarcerated in juvenile hall. At the age of 18, I ended up getting shot 15 times in my friend's car. Um, After that, I still didn't change. I still continued to go back to jail. Ended up graduating, going to prison, and just living that lifestyle. Got caught up in it. Uh, this last time I got incarcerated, I my mom ended up getting sick, and throughout my whole life, the person who's been there for me has supported me through everything has been my mother, and that really hurt me. It hurt me because if I was a loser while I was incarcerated, it would suck. So I wanted to change. I had two kids that were growing up without me in their life, and I seen the effect that it had on me not having a father around when I was young. So I didn't want my kids to experience that, to have to go through that. I wanted them to have someone they could look up to and be proud of. And so this last time I got out of prison, OVP, the peacekeepers, came to my house, and I wasn't. At first, I didn't want nothing to do with them. I didn't want to listen to them. I tried to hide from them. Um, but I was like in the brink of going back to prison. Getting involved in that lifestyle, or just quitting. And I didn't want that for my kids, like I said. So one day they sent somebody over to my house, a peacekeeper, and I finally answered the door and started listening to him. He just told me he wanted to help me, and I was just thinking, like, why would this person want to help me? What does this person know about me? How can he help me? So finally started listening to him, and he just kind of asked me what I wanted to do with myself. And I wasn't sure at the time, but I knew I wanted to go back to school and do something, with my life, get like education. So I ended up going back to school, getting my GED. Um, After that, I was like, I knew I wanted something more. I wanted more. I was like, man, I felt good about myself. And the peacekeepers have been there through the whole time. They're introduced me to someone here at Delta, got me enrolled here at Delta, and ever since then, I found a lot of new skills and a lot of new things about myself that I didn't know, and I started coming here to Delta and getting involved with a lot of good people here at Delta College. I met this lady named Danica Bravo who works with the formerly incarcerated population, who helped me get on track with whatever going on, getting kind of used to coming to college, and she was just there for support, like a mentor to me, and I met a lot of great people here at Delta that have helped me. And throughout the whole time, OVP still, have helped me with buying my books, parking passes, rides to school, everything, just someone to talk to, kind of almost like that father figure that I didn't have. Someone, a positive role model is what they are to me, that they've always been. And I just, I started getting involved, volunteering my time with like certain nonprofit organizations, with events in the community, speaking up, trying to stop violence. I learned a lot about myself. I learned that I have a passion for helping other people, especially people that are going through the things that I went through, that are encountering the same barriers that went through, here at Delta College, from living that lifestyle, coming from that environment, to kind of, switching over and trying to get on track here. I already feel like I didn't belong, and all that stuff. And I just know what it feels like. So now that I'm more comfortable here, and I know a lot of resources here at Delta, I help a lot of people that are encountering those obstacles that I was, and just being a voice for that population. Like I said, I've done presentations here throughout Flex Week talking about the formerly incarcerated students, what we're going through, how to better, assist that population, to give them a good chance in succeeding here at Delta College, or acquiring whatever they're here for, their certificate, whatever it is, a degree. So now my plan is I'm gonna get my AA degree in Arts and Humanities, and I'm transferring out to Stanislaus State to get my bachelor's in psychology. After I acquire that, I want to come back to my community, and I want to give back to my community. I want to help other people that came from the same environment as me, that didn't have no way out, that limited themselves, limited their options because of the hand that they were dealt, where they were born, without a dad, and the ghetto, whatever it is. I know what that means to somebody and how it can change someone's life. So I want to come back and be involved with my community, give those others opportunities, provide opportunities, and show them that, they don't have to just live that lifestyle and continue that cycle. There's more to life, like there's so much potential out there. And, I just want to be that person to help these people get out, just like I was. It meant so much to me. I wouldn't be here. I'd be dead. I'd be in prison, something. Now I got my kids back, I'm raising my kids. I'm in their lives. I'm here at school, full-time student, going into my 4th semester. So, I like I said, now that I learned a lot about myself, I just want to give back. I want to be that person that, the peacekeepers were for me. And that's my plan for right now.
I want to go back to the beginning. Talk to me about your home life and your relationship with your mom and what that was like.
Well, growing up at a young age, my mom, she was a really, really good, caring person. She's always had my back, whether I was right or wrong. She's taught me a lot of good things, like, she did the best she could, but it wasn't the same, because I needed a man around, I'm a boy. I needed a man around to show me how to be a man, and she couldn't really do it. She was always working 2 jobs. We were always out, kind of trying to figure out who we were, kind of, you know what I'm saying? Because we're trying to fit in, see where we could, because we felt like we didn't belong, not having a dad, not having, not being able to play sports, not being able to do certain things. So, it just affected us, it was like this empty feeling, and that feeling made me want to go look somewhere where I felt like I belonged. And the gangs and the environment, those things that I got involved with made me feel like I was important, made me feel like I had a purpose in life. And that's where, everything went all downhill through there. But like I said, my mom, she's been a good parent. She's been there till this day. She supports all of us, and she did the best she could. But at the end, just things didn't turn out like she probably would have hoped. So,
how do you think having, a male role model in your life in that time, like a father, would have changed you?
It would have changed me because I wouldn't have felt that emptiness. If my dad was around, like, to show me how to be a man, like that, just just show me right from wrong. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like show me that affects that I'm loved. Like my dad, I didn't have that, like I didn't have certain things. Like I'd watch other kids, going to school, getting dropped off by their dads, or going on fishing trips, anything, things like that. And I didn't have that. And I grew up with this emptiness in my, and, I just felt this emptiness. And I feel like my dad not being around and all that just made me angry. Like it just made me feel like I wasn't the same. Like I wasn't the same as everybody else. So I think that affected me. It made me, I built up a lot of anger in me because I felt like I was kind of cheated out of my childhood. Like I see kids, their dad supporting them through whatever it is, showing them, taking them at the age of 15, 16, taking them to work, showing them, how to be a man, how to take care of the house, how to, treat women, how to, certain things. And I didn't have that. I kind of had to learn that on my own. My mom she did the best she could, but she's a woman at the end of the day, and she didn't have that time. So that affected me a lot, growing up, not having that father figure around to show me, right from wrong, to show me that he loves me, that I belong, that, that I could be who I want to be, someone to support me when I get good grades, someone to say, hey, you did a good job today, or I didn't have that. So it made me feel angry, like I got cheated out of my childhood, and that's a lot of that affected my decisions that I made growing up, getting involved with these gangs, getting involved with selling drugs, getting shot, all this stuff. I feel like if I would have had my dad around, I wouldn't have been so angry and done things, try to, hurt other people, when I was really just hurting myself, hurting my family. That's what I didn't want to do. I like I said earlier, like I see how it affected me not having my father around. So I didn't want my son. I have a 5-year-old son. I didn't want him growing up that way. I wanted to break that cycle for my family. Like I said, I have 7 siblings. 5 of them have been, no, 6 of them been incarcerated. 3 of them have been shot. I want to break that cycle for my family. I want to be that person. I want to be that person that my kids look up to and be like, my dad went through all this and he still came out of that and did all this for us. Like, that's the whole purpose of me doing this. I just want different for my family. I'm tired of bringing hurt and pain to my family. I want them to be proud of me. I want them to be like, man, look up, not almost like look up to be like, he did all this and, he still looked at where he's at today. You know what I'm saying? And growing up in Stockton, throughout all this since when I was young, my city have sent a lot of people, such as the peacekeepers, different nonprofit organizations, to try to help me get my life back on track. And I don't know how I could repay them. Like, I know how they don't understand. I express myself to them all the time, like, you guys just don't understand what you guys did for me, or how important you guys are to me and what you guys did. So I want to come back to my community and bring my community, because there's a lot of stuff going on in Stockton, a lot of gun violence, all these kids running around with guns, and adults, like, they don't have nothing to live for. I want to help change that and give these people opportunity, because once I got a chance of to do something that I wanted to do and had these people behind me 100%, like, I just took off, and I know that if there are other people in my environment back there where I grew up, just had, that person, that positive role model, and help them, through whatever they need, just the basics, whatever it is, just to be there for them and, help them, show them the way, guide them, because they don't know. I feel like they'd be a lot less crime here in Stockton, so I just want to, once I acquire my BA and Stanislaus, I just want to come back and help my community. That's what I want to do, because I feel like I owe a lot to this community. I did a lot of bad, but I want to give back a lot of good. I don't just want to say and be like, oh, you could do that. I want to show them. That's why I'm here in school and trying to do this. I come from this population. I carry the stigma with me because I'm formerly incarcerated, gang member, the whole things. But I'm going to show everybody that it's possible. There is a way out. So that's what my plan is right now. But like I said, I volunteer. I have speeches all the time coming up, just motivational, whatever it is, just to try to get involved, do what I got to do, meet people, show them that it can be done, that there's more to life than just the hood, the ghetto, that lifestyle. There's more to life. And I want to show them that, I want to help. I want to help tackle crime. Help violence go down in the city because there's a lot going on right now, and I just want to. I want to do what I can to help my community.
Do you remember the first time that gang life was introduced to you? Do you remember, was it gradually over time? Was there a certain day that you remember as a young man, young teenager?
I remember when I was little and probably like around 5 or 6, and just seeing that around because I have older brothers. I would see that. I would see them around the house. I would see them, just doing things, and I'd be like, that's all I'd seen growing up. That's all kind of that I thought was cool. I looked up, like, I'm like, oh, look, he's cool. He has this and that. They're wearing colors and whoop, whoop, like, kind of make them feel like they belonged, like they have a purpose. Like I said, because where we grew up from, it felt like we didn't really have a purpose. Like we're just meant to be in the ghetto, do what we had to do, live that life, and that was it. There was no getting out. There was no other options. So, yeah, when I was little, just seeing the gang members around me, I was like kind of forced to say, and I wasn't, almost like I didn't have a choice because that's all that was around me. That's all I ever seen growing up was gangs. People, gang members around me, around my household, drinking, doing whatever, whatever they got going on. Just that was my environment growing up, and that affected me too. Like I said, if I had my dad around, he wouldn't have all that around me. He would be able to tell me like, hey, this is not right. You shouldn't be doing this. This is and that, and made me feel like I didn't belong because my mom was always busy. I didn't have no one to show me that affection and love. Like, hey, we love you. You did good. This and that. And then there were 7 of us. So, it was just, I was just lost as a kid. I was lost. I didn't know. I was searching for myself, and I just got caught up in this gang lifestyle, getting shot, hurting my family, hurting my kids. So like I said, I want to stop that cycle. I want to break it. I want something else. I want something better for my family, for my kids, because they deserve more. So.
During this time, this period, what, and as far as you want to go into it, as far as you're comfortable going into it, talk to me about what your life was like in a gang.
Well, when I was in a gang, I was a whole different person. I'd ride around with guns all the time, selling drugs, thinking I was hurting other people, but I was really hurting myself, living carefree. I was going through so much stuff that I was always using drugs just to, kind of cope with it. Just to be able to kind of live normal because I was always on edge, especially after getting shot. I was shot 15 times. I was shot in my face. Both of my lungs collapsed. My intestines had to get reconstructed. My liver was sliced. They gave me less than a 5% chance to live. Like, it was the worst thing that had happened to me. So after that, I suffered a lot from PTSD and, got involved using drugs and just being careless, thinking I was cool, thinking it felt like I belonged. There's people there that always had my back and, just made me feel like I belonged and stuff. But it wasn't really the case. And I ended up causing a lot of hurt to myself and my family. A lot of it that I can't take back, but I'm trying to make things right, And that's pretty much what it was like, having to worry every day whether you're going to come back home or not, just so many stuff. Like, it was stressful and wasted a lot of time. Like I said, I caused a lot of pain to my family, and all I'm trying to do is change and make things right, try to give back, try to provide opportunities for others in the same shoes that I am, just trying to show them that it's possible. It is possible. We got to stop thinking inside the box and start thinking outside the box. Stop limiting ourselves, because all those people have potential. They just need to see the other side and have someone to kind of show them, and I feel like I'm doing that. Like, I'm going to show them and help them and help be that person to help guide them, be like, through their journey, help them. And it's not just like, oh, go to college, do this, just whatever they want to do, help them, whatever they want to do. They want to get a certificate, they want to get a job, if they want to, substance abuse, whatever it is, just help them change their life, be who they want to be able to help their family and provide for their kids, stop all this violence and stop shooting everybody and doing this careless stuff, I just want them to see, just to kind of open their eyes, they're hurting themselves and their families, and I want to change that. I want to help change that.
That time you were shot 15 times, was that at once?
Yeah, that was at once. I was actually in a convertible, and two dudes walked up on me and ended up shooting me.
Can you recount that day as best you can for me?
I remember I was just hanging out at my friend's house, and we had parked in front of his house. He was gonna go change. We were gonna go out. I think it was a Friday or Saturday night. Next thing you know, I was sitting in the car waiting, and I thought it was him walking up to the car, and then I noticed someone just tap on the window, and that's all I remember. I remember just getting shot, waking up. Doctors from everywhere coming to see me, saying it's a miracle that I'm alive. I'm a miracle, just touching me, my toes, waking me up, and telling me like, hey, they gave you less than 5% chance to survive, and here you are, They're like, you're up, and I had to learn how to walk, go through all that physical therapy, everything all over again. And, it took me a couple of months to get back on my feet, but I did. And I'm still suffering, like, I still have a lot going on, physically that, prevent me from having, like, more physical jobs and things like that, but I'm okay right now. Good, Everything happens for a reason. I just feel like I'm here for something else, and it wasn't my time to go, so I'm trying to make the most of it.
During that time that you were in the life, why did you think it wasn't possible to get out, or why do you think people don't want to leave the gang? Or
It's not that I think that people don't want to leave the gang, it's they don't know how. They don't know how to leave. I know a lot of people, even growing up, I could see it in them. It wasn't for them, that lifestyle. It's just they don't know how to get out. They don't know that they don't know their potential. They don't know that they're eligible to go to school, and there's all these grants and all these people that are willing to help you through this process, for you to change your life and get your life back on track. They just don't know, and a lot of them, it's like that's just all they know. There's like nowhere out. Their dads, their grandpas, everybody's lived that life. So it's like that's what they limit themselves to. They think that's all they're gonna be, and it can be, because they witness all that stuff or see, I don't know, everything that they seen growing up. Just discourage them. I'm sure that they don't have people every day tell them, oh, you could be a doctor, you could be an attorney, you could be someone. You know what I'm saying? They don't have that because they've never had that. Like me, growing up, we didn't talk about, oh, you're gonna go to this college. We never had no type of talks like that. No one's ever went to college in my family. There's been maybe one. I think my brother got his GED, and it's just like, I feel like they just don't know. They want a way out. They just don't know how. And it kind of sucks, but the system now is built so in order for you to get help to try to get out, you have to get in trouble. You have to be on probation. You have to be on some, and then these resources open up to you, which is ridiculous. Like I said, back in the day, if I would have had OVP around or had someone, to show me the way, I would have for sure listened. I didn't have nothing else. Ground zero. It's either going to jail forever, you're going to pick up a bag, a gun, or you're going to listen to this guy. So that's what I did. Once they came, once I got involved with them, things started happening, coming together. I started getting my family back. I seen the looks on my kids' faces, just to all be together, to be a family, and that's everything to me, So I want the best for my kids, so that's what I'm working on now. It's trying to get my life back on track, and hopefully one day be able to come back to Stockton and get more involved with my community.
Did the times you were incarcerated, did it ever go through your mind that you were putting your kids through the same thing that you went through as a child?
Never, never. I didn't even think about them. There was so much going on in my life, me trying to stay alive, trying to stay out, that I didn't even think about it until this last time. I feel like God sent me a sign like, hey, what are you doing? And it took my mom getting sick, having a stroke, to realize that I'm hurting them, that, if something happens, my mom's going through it. She needs me just like I need her when I go through my things and I'm not there. And it just hurt me. And I was just like, then I started thinking about, I'm like, hold on, my family. I was like, I have a daughter, I have a son, I have 3 daughters, I'm like, what am I doing? And then I started thinking, I was like, wait up. I just started analyzing, like just thinking about my life, like what went wrong? And then I started thinking, like, I remember growing up mad because of my dad not being around, and seeing all the stuff that I did growing up, cops coming into my house, raiding my house, gunpoint, 5 years old, not waking me up from my bed, all my life, that's all I seen. So, so I started thinking about the things that affected me as a kid, and it was just like I grew up hating law enforcement because that's what I was taught as a kid, that they're the enemy. And then seeing them come knock my door down, taking my brothers, to jail, doing this and that as a kid, not disrespecting us like to the fullest, like I grew up hating them, and and when I started thinking about everything, I was like, wait up, I'm doing this to my kids. I was like, my brothers had this happen to me, and look how it affected me. Why would I want my kids to go through that? My kids don't deserve that. So I wanted something. I was like, I don't want to put them through no more. I'm tired of this, like I'm fine. I'll be fine. I know what life I chose, but I didn't want that for my kids. And I was tired of hurting others. And I wasn't hurting. Ultimately, I was hurting myself and my family the most because they're missing out time with me. They always had to worry about me, whether I was going to come home or not, where I was, So, like I said, I just wanted to change things around and break that cycle. I didn't want my kids growing up like I did. I wanted them to have a normal life. So now, like I try to do a lot with my kids. I'll go painting with my kids, take them to the park, just little things, that I wish that my dad did with me. Just telling them things when they get do good in school, come back with a color green because they did good in school. I congratulate, like, dude, you did so good, thank you. I'm telling you, later on it's gonna pay back. I promise. You keep doing good. And, just things like that, just little, just motivation. And like I said, I catch myself doing things that I wish my dad did to me, doing to my kids, like taking them out, congratulating them for whatever they did, just being there, listening to them, just watching a movie with them, So that's basically what I try to do with my kids now, because I know I don't want them living that lifestyle. I don't want them getting shot. I don't want them to have memories like, oh, yeah, I remember the cops came over here with the helicopter and knocked my door down. Like, no, it's not what I want. It's not what I want for my kids. I want my kids to be like, my dad went through this, and that, but he lived this so much that he changed his life around, so we could be here, be happy, be together as a family, and that's what I'm working on now. Like I said, I got my kids back and stuff, and I'm doing everything I can, but I have a long way to go.
You had mentioned that. How many brothers and sisters do you have, and how many of them have been shot? Could you explain that?
I have. There's 7 of us, 7 kids. I have 1 sister. I have 6 brothers, and I am a twin. I'm the second to the youngest in the family. Out of 7 of us, 5 of us have been incarcerated, and then 3 of us have been shot before. So that gives you a little idea of what kind of life I had growing up. Like I said, gangs have been my whole life. It's all I knew growing up. And like I said, when I was little, I didn't even have a chance because these guys were around me, drinking, doing what they had to do, whatever they did. And all I did was just sit there and soak it up. So that's kind of how that all started with the gangs and stuff. And not like I said, not having my father around affected it a lot because I felt like I didn't have a purpose. Like my dad just left me because I, was nothing. So, like I said, I grew up kind of angry and felt like I didn't belong at first. And then, when the gangs come around, then, oh, you're gonna find a spot there, and they're gonna make you feel like you belong. So that's what ended up happening with me, and that's where everything just started at a very young age. Like I almost didn't have a chance. So, yeah, it took a lot though. But like I said, now looking back on everything, I see how not having a father around and not even just that, the environment I was in, like there were sports and things like that, but I couldn't afford them. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's $25, we didn't have $25. You know, there's nothing out there for young kids, especially in Stockton. So I feel like that has a lot to do with it too.
Do you remember the first time that OPP reached out to you? Do you remember that experience and what the day that it happened?
Yeah, I do actually. I remember they had sent one of the peacekeepers, Grover Crump, over to my house, and he came knocking on my door, and I was just trying to hide. I was like, "What the heck is that? Is that law enforcement? What is that?" Because I still wasn't. I wasn't sure what I was gonna do. And then having these experiences, all these things with the law enforcement before, it was like, I was always on edge. So I remember him coming to my door and kind of wanting to talk to me, and I was like, what does this guy want? I went out there and listened, like, hey man, I'm so-and-so from the city. I'd like to help you, just help you get where you're going and things like that. And I didn't want to listen to it. I was like, okay, yeah, here's this guy gonna try to help me. He doesn't know nothing about me. And then, I listened to him and kind of let it go in one ear and out the other. And then, sure enough, they would keep coming back, knocking on my door, trying to find me. Like, hey, you never called me back, or they just kept being consistent and trying to, kind of get me to listen to what they had to say. And one day I was just like, I was going through my own things. Like I said, I was like kind of contemplating on what to do next. Like, man, am I gonna continue to live this life and hurt my family, what I'm saying, hurt my kids and get locked up again? Or am I just going to listen to this guy and see, what he has to offer? And that's what I did. I was just like, he came to my house again. And I was like, hey, started talking to him. He's like, man, we'd like you to come down and just listen to us. And went over there and got introduced to everybody, started talking to him, and I felt really comfortable. At first I was like, hey, this is cool. Like, they started helping me with just the basics, getting my ID, getting everything like Social Security card, things like that. And they just kind of, like I said, started asking me like, hey, what do you want to do? And I was just like, I don't know what I want to do. I was like, I want to do something though, And they're like, how about school? And I told them, I was like, that sounds good. I do kind of want to go back to school. And sure enough, I ended up going to, like I said, going to school to get my GED, and they were still consistent, just checking up. Well, do you need anything? Do you need a ride? Helping me with my supplies, whatever it is. And I was just like, dude, these guys, what is it? And I just like, why? Well, there's something, like they want something from me. But the whole time, all they wanted to do was help me, and all I had to do was listen. And that's like one of the best choices I've ever made, because here I am now, learning a lot about myself, giving back to my community. 2 years ago, you'd see me in prison. You know what I'm saying? In prison with all these guys living this life. Never. You would have asked me, I wouldn't even talk to you back then. You could try to talk, I wouldn't even talk to you. And now look at me now, I would never in a million years guess I'd be, in the position I am now with my family, getting known around Stockton, being able to help others. I signed whatever friends I do have left, I signed them all up for Delta. So, I just try to help everybody that I can, because, I don't know, I just don't want to see everybody go down that road, or the people that I grew up with and stuff, I don't want to see them. I don't want to see them cause pain to their family and their kids and all that. I want to show them, that there's more to life. I want them to kind of hop on board with me, try to help them. That's what I've been doing.
Speaking of your friends, how many friends have you lost to violence in Stockton?
All my friends. All my friends, family and friends. Maybe growing up, there was like about, you can say like a group of 12 of us that were, close, really close. And all of them, four of them got locked up for like 12 years for, getting in trouble. The rest of them died from gun violence in Stockton. I don't have no friends that I grew up with. That's why I always think to myself how blessed I am. People be like, man, you're so lucky. You used to do this, this, and that, whoop, whoop. And I'm like, I'm not lucky, man. I'm blessed. Like, God has me out here for a reason, and I just want to help others and show them the way, especially the people that I love, the people that I grew up with. Anybody who wants out that life, I want to help them, I want to be that person to show them like, hey, it's possible, because I know how much that means to somebody like that comes from that environment or that lifestyle. It's like, it means a lot to them. You can't pay for this. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know.
A lot of people today comment on how the majority of Stockton's violence is due to gangs and gang violence. Has it ever crossed your mind that you used to be a part of that?
Yeah, all the time, always. I always thinking about that, and that's what kind of makes me want to do more. Because I've done a lot of bad in my community, but I've done a lot of good also, and I want to continue to do good. But yeah, I do always think about it like, damn, that used to be me. Always, I social media now, you could find out anything now. So I always look up like, the sheriff's page or the Stockton PD, and always see pages of things of people, shootings, people getting caught with, and I'm just like, damn, that used to be me. Like, and it kind of makes me want to do more, do more with my community, with those people that I continuously see getting locked up, people that from back when I used to get incarcerated, I still see them still in that same cycle. Like, I want to show them, like, dude, come on, man, you need to get out of that. There's more. There's more to, like, you need to quit doing that. Help them break that cycle, because they're just hurting themselves. So, but yeah, I do think about that. I always think about it, be like, man, that was me. I always think about that. But like, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have a second chance to be here. And I'm gonna do the most with it.
What are you doing now to get you to where you want to be?
Right now, like I said, I'm part of the leadership council for the OVP, Office of Violence Prevention, for the city of Stockton. We have like meetings every 2 weeks down at City Hall, and just we all kind of like talk about what we're going through, or things that obstacles that we're encountering, or just to kind of keep us all on this track that we're on, that kind of keep us around positive people, and not lose vision of what we're doing, which is trying to do something like, how do I say it, trying to give back to the community and things like that, how we can, like, just to stick with what our ultimate goal was trying to give back and stay with this leadership council every Wednesday, just see what we could do, to help each other out or help our community out, or what we could do. There's community, there's things our community are doing, like, whatever it is, like the common concert, things like that. Like, I try to get involved, I try to do what I can, even talk, whatever. They had me do a little speech. I did that. I just stay around OVP. They're like a family to me now. That help me keep me on this track. So yeah, there's days I have bad days, and start a little stressed out or whatever it is, and I call them, and they're there to listen to me and give me advice, and just to keep me on this track that I'm on. Because I do always, everybody has their bad days, or days that they just feel a little discouraged or might go through something. And I just try to stay in contact and around positive people such as OVP. And I met a lot of people. I met a lot of people from nonprofit organizations that support me, that believe in me, that I could call for help. I just changed my circle of friends. You know, my circle of friends are now just positive people, people that that have been there for me and want to see me do good, and that created new opportunities in my life. You know, and I just stay around that. And like I said, all this is voluntary. This leadership council, I do this on my free time. You know, I go. People from Delta College call me like when they have new formerly incarcerated students. You know, to help mentor, talk to them, or walk them around, make them feel more comfortable. You know, and that's what I just try to keep myself busy and see how I could give back every time, just to keep me on the track that I'm in right now, in a positive environment, and surround myself around these positive people.
What advice would you give to someone, a young kid right now in a gang? Pretend like I'm in a gang. I don't look like it.
Mm-hmm.
If I was, what advice would you give me to get out of that life?
That it's just possible, man, that you could do it. That there's more to life than just, living that lifestyle that they're living. Like, there is a way out. There's a way out, and you don't have to continue to try to hurt other people and try to feel like you belong, because, you do belong somewhere and it's not there, There's people that want to see you, that will help you, just like the gang supports you. There's people that actually want to help you and support you do good, and that there's people out there that want to help you. And I would, if you were a gang member, I would try to help you. Like, what do you want to do? I know this isn't what you want to do forever. What do you want to do, and how can I help you get there? I would take the time out of my day just to help that person, just to talk to him. He's gonna make his own decision, but I will just talk to him, kind of get to know them and see what they want to do, and just show them, maybe try to point them in the right direction, try to help them out. If they're ready to change, they're gonna change, They're gonna want to have to change though. So if it was, like I said, if you were a gang member and I came across you, and I just try to get to know you a little bit better and, understand you, and, try to tell you, mentor you, help you, tell you that, it's possible. Do you really, want to do this? We could help you, could help you have like a normal life. Not having to always worry about going back and hurting your family, or hurting, whatever it is. So that's what I would do, or the advice I would give them.
Do you ever face judgment now that you're outside of that life? Is that something that's constantly in your face?
No, not really. I don't really face judgment, because all I'm trying to do is create a better life for my family. I haven't done nothing bad to anybody else.
Come on, sorry.
I was trying to
It's
catch
okay.
your voice.
Sorry.
No, I don't really worry about that, and I don't get a lot, because people know that I've seen what I've went through. They've seen what I've done. They've seen how I hurt my family. So they're proud of me. A lot of people be like, don't a lot of people try to be like, hey, you know what? No, nothing happened. I'm just trying to help my family. I'm tired of hurting my family. That's it. I don't care what anybody has to say about me, because at the end of the day, they're not gonna help me or my family. They're not gonna help me pay my bills or support my family. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not worried about what anybody got to say about me. Everybody that I do care about their opinion or anything is proud of me. They're proud of who I am today and what I've been, because of what I've went through. I could easily have thrown my life away and just been like, forget this, pick up a firearm or do whatever. Like I said, since I've been 18, I've gotten I'm 28 now. I've gotten 3 pistol charges, gotten firearm charges as an adult, not counting my juvenile record. Like, why, if you really cared about me, why would you want that life for me? Why would you want to see me tear down my whole life and, hurt my kids and everybody, like, why would you want that for me? So if you're gonna judge me in a negative way, then it doesn't even matter. You don't matter to me, or your opinion doesn't matter.
Can you list off from juvenile to till the last time you were incarcerated, just all the charges that you remember having?
First time I was incarcerated was probably, I think it was 8th grade. I had gotten in a fight with the security guard from my school. I think he tried to choke me out or something, and I ended up getting upset and hitting him. I ended up getting incarcerated. Age 15, I was charged with discharging a firearm in a negligent manner. At 16, I high speed chase. I think I got another a fight or something like that. Then I was 18. I ended up getting shot 15 times. At age 20, I think I got my first gun charge as an adult. And then after that, I went to county, came back out, caught another firearm charge, went to prison, came back, caught another firearm charge, and that's this last time that I got out and wanted to change my life.
You talked about your mom having a stroke. Do you remember a specific moment when you said, "This is it, I'm done"? Was there something that happened?
The thing that had happened was when my mom had a stroke and I was incarcerated, and I remember having her. My mom was the one. I mean, every week I would hear from her. She'd always check up on me. I was her baby, so I remember for around it was 3 weeks to a month. I didn't hear from her. I didn't have nobody, and my sister ended up calling her phone. My sister ended up answering and telling me that my mom has been in the hospital because she suffered from a stroke. She had a stroke and, was going through a lot. And that was it right there. That was my wake-up call. I was like, hold on. I would have never forgave myself if something would have happened to her where I wasn't there, passed away or something. And I was just like, I can't do this no more. I'm hurting my mom, causing her all this stress and pain, from her having to worry about me, from being locked up and, from being shot and all. My mom's she's been through everything with me, and supported me. So it just made me open my eyes because through that time, I didn't have nobody else. None of my friends, like I said, they're all dead or locked up. I didn't have no friends. I didn't have nobody looking out for me. It was just my mother. She was my everything. So when that ended up happening, I started realizing things like, dude, what are you doing? What if your mom passes away right now and you're going to be in here? And then I started thinking about my kids, this is going to affect my kids. All this stuff I'm doing right now is affecting my kids. They're growing up without a dad. Same thing. That's how it started with me, not having a dad around. And then it just opened so many doors to other things, like I said, feeling like I didn't belong to wanting to feel like I belong somewhere. Someone giving me attention and telling me, kind of congratulating me for the wrong things that I did, but I was still getting the attention. So that's pretty much it.
Anything else, Pedro?
I did have one more question. It kind of goes into background and how you guys ended in Stockton. How did your family or whatever, have you guys just always lived here? Or
We did always live here in Stockton.
So just generations just
Generations, yeah, just came over here, moved down to Stockton, and just been here since. I know my mom came down here and tried to start a new life or my mom just came down here and started trying a new life for us because of my brothers, what they were going through, and she ended up moving to Stockton. Came from Sacramento, ended up moving to Stockton. I'm not that far, but different neighborhood, and just ended up being the same.
So you were living in Sacramento, or your mom was living in Sacramento with your brothers, and got them out of Sacramento.
To come to Stockton for a change, and it just continued.
Change
Because, no, it didn't change for the better.
I mean, she came down here for a change for the better?
A change for the better, yeah, and it didn't end up working that way. It was already in us, we had witnessed and seen too many things, we were exposed to so much that it was too late already. It was too late. And then, even when my mom did try to work with us or try to get us out that life, she still had to go to work. Only parent, so we had a lot of free time. And not a lot of good things to do, such as sports, whatever it is, doing things with my father, all that. And then school too, especially when it came to school. I would listen and pay attention a lot, and I'd love learning. But when I would leave school, everything would go out the door. It was just a whole different environment, I had to go back to the real world, all that school and all that knowledge that couldn't do nothing for me, at that time.
I'm curious, in your life, in the gang life, can you describe for me the type of people that you think join gangs? Why do a lot of them not have father figures around?
I feel like a lot of them don't have father figures, and not just that don't have father figures, is that they're, like I said, their grandpas, their dads, they all live that lifestyle, so that's all they see growing up, and they think that's cool, you know? And some people grow up, like you said, without a dad and, you know, feeling like they don't belong, or, you know, maybe their dad treats them wrong or beats on them, beats their mom, just things that's going on at home that make them grow up with a lot of anger in them, you know? And they end up, from my perspective, I feel like they end up hurting a lot of people when they're, you know, just to get some of that anger out, or, you know, get involved with certain things that make them feel like they belong, because they don't belong at home, you know, or they don't have no one at home to look up to, you know? Or there's a lot of, you know, parents selling drugs or whatever it is. I feel like that, you know, there's so many factors that contribute to them, you know, choosing that lifestyle, but a lot of it is, you know, not having that person to like kind of guide you through things and show you, you know, right from wrong. Because like I said, uncles, aunts, brothers, grandpas, fathers, I have all lived that life, you know, and it's hard. It's hard because that's all you know growing up, you know. That's all you know, so it's like, how do you break that cycle? How do you even get a thought like, you know, maybe I want something else? Because that's all you know. That's all you think you're entitled to, because that's where you grew up at, or that's the type of parents you have, or, you know, you don't have a father, or whatever the situation might be. So.
And I'm sorry to bring you, I promise we're almost done.
Fine.
I'm sorry to bring you back to this point, but when you woke up in the hospital, can you describe the injuries that the doctors told you you had received?
Yeah, they had told me I had to have, I forgot what kind of surgery I had. I had like I had surgery on my cheekbone because I got a gunshot wound to the face. And back of my head too, I had a bullet just lodged in there, just stuck in there. I have a bullet on top of my heart. Both of my lungs collapsed because they were all both punctured. My intestines had to get reconstructed. I had to learn everything: how to walk, how to talk, how to use a restroom again. You know, my left humerus was shattered from a gunshot wound, so they had to kind of like cut a piece of my bone off and put a plate up there and kind of stick my, you know, so my bone would grow back together. Like I said, they gave me less than a 5% chance to survive. And like I said, I don't know how I survived. I don't know what it was. I remember giving up and, you know, thinking it was it. And here I am waking up and my head's as big as a pumpkin. Like I had so many machines next to me just, you know, draining fluids or putting things in my body. It was ridiculous. I had 3 different surgeons. I had doctors from all around the state coming and seeing me, saying I was a miracle, you know, waking me up from my naps and just tell me like you're a miracle, and just wanted to meet me. So it was scary, man. It's like a scary experience, but I am who I am because of the things I went through, you know.
Were you at San Joaquin General for that?
San Joaquin, no, not San Joaquin, St. Joseph's Hospital
Joseph.
Here in Stockton.
I want to ask you this. Why didn't that stop you from living the life that you were living?
Because I was still angry. And then I felt like I was angry, and I wanted to make them feel how I felt, but I didn't know who it was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know. I was angry, and I still didn't know, you know? It's just like, still trying to kind of figure myself out. Like, is this what my life's gonna be like, you know? And then throughout that time, I had firearms, so I'd get pulled over with a firearm or something, you know, just to protect myself. Whatever it was, I'd ended up back. So, I don't know. I still didn't know. I was lost. I didn't know. That's why I continued to write with firearms. And, you know, honestly, I could honestly say that OVP has definitely saved my life. Like, what they did to me, I would never be able to pay them back. Never, you know? And they changed my life, had me, like, I just think differently about life, you know? My values changed, everything, like, just, they showed me a lot, man, and they still continue. They didn't just leave me. They still continue to be by my side and support me through everything I do, with trying to clear my record and, you know, everything, like, I can't thank them enough.